Kasparas Jakucionis, from all Big Ten to possibly NBA All-Star? Let's talk about it.
You are Locked On Illini, your daily podcast on the Illinois Fighting Illini. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome all to another edition of Locked On Illini. Today's episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. My name is Sonny Verma, your host here at Locked On Illini, where I continue to provide you coverage daily. That's right, every single day of the orange and blue. Costs you absolutely nothing. The only thing I ask for in return is if you can make sure you hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Look, today's going to be a little bit different. I figured when you're watching this, either the NBA draft is about to happen or it just happened. So we're going to have Illini fans watching, critiquing my thoughts about Kasparas Jakucionis and telling me where they think I was right and wrong about Kasparas and his freshman year at Illinois. And there's a good chance I'm going to have a lot of NBA fans. So basically, if your team just drafted Kasparas Jakucionis and you want to know, hey, who is this kid? What is he good at? What does he need to work on? I'm assuming I'm going to get a couple of those as well. So again, even if you are an NBA fan who has no interest in Illini sports, just do me a favor if you can, hit that like button for this particular video. I made it for you. As I mentioned today, I'm going to talk a little bit about Kasparas Jakucionis. Kasparas might not be a household name for casual NBA fans yet, but the teams that do their homework know that this kid could potentially be one of the better players from the NBA draft. Let's rewind a bit. Jakucionis came to Illinois after spending time with FC Barcelona's development program, which is one of the premier basketball pipelines in all of Europe. We knew he was polished, but few expected him to take the leap he did so quickly. In his one season at Illinois, he averaged 15 points per game, 5.7 rebounds per game, 4.7 assists a game, and he did it shooting 44% from the field and 85% from the free throw line. He earned all Big Ten freshman honors and even third team all Big Ten. Not bad for a kid who was still adjusting to American college basketball just a few months earlier. Brad Underwood handed him the keys to the offense almost immediately, and let me tell you, he carried this Illinois team, at least on the offensive side, for the first couple months of the season. I was here every single day wondering if anyone else was going to be able to step up and help Kasparas. Like, he needed the Robin to his Batman, and earlier in the season, he was talked about not just being potential All-Big Ten, but maybe even an All-American. His vision, his poise, ability to control tempo made Illinois dangerous. He's not just a volume scorer in the traditional sense, but his impact is massive. Let's start with his strengths. And in my opinion, there's a lot to like. Number one, he has elite playmaking and court vision. This is what I think separates him from a lot of other players. At almost 6'6", Kasparas sees over defenses. His passing is pick and roll NBA ready. And he's not just making the obvious NBA reads. He's throwing manipulated late window passes with confidence. Number two, 3-level scoring potential. He's not just a passer. Kasparas can absolutely score. He finishes with either hand at the rim, uses his craft instead of athleticism, which we'll get to a little bit later, and has a nice mid-range pull-up. Also, his free throw percentage at 85% gives you confidence that the outside shot will continue to develop. Number three, when it comes to strengths, is his feel and pace control. This is something is innate to you. This is not a skill I think that you can teach. He never looks rushed. He looks like he's controlled. Kind of reminds me of my favorite NBA player, Luka, in the way that he controls tempo. He's got fakes. He's got hesitations, footwork. It's all there. Next great asset about him is his size for his position. He rebounds very, very well. He uses his frame to create space, and he's not afraid of contact, especially for a freshman guard. Pulling down nearly 6 rebounds a game in the Big Ten Conference, a very physical conference, absolutely very, very impressive. And the other thing that some Illini fans may disagree with me on this take. They may go the opposite direction. I love his motor, and I love his toughness. This dude plays hard. He dives for loose balls, he runs the floor, and he takes charges. For all his Euro finesse, to me, he played like he belonged with the Big Ten with the edge that he had. Now, it's all not just roses for Kasparas. There are a couple weaknesses I do feel like I am compelled to mention. Kasparas has limited burst. He's not a blow-by guy. His first step is average, and he doesn't have that elite athletic pop. In the NBA, that can hurt you against guys who are just flat out quicker. He also has inconsistent outside shooting. Early in the season, this kid could not miss. He was hitting over 41% from three-point land. But ultimately, at the end of the year, he finished at just 32%. The mechanics are solid. Even if you're not an Illini fan, if your team just drafted Kasparas Jakucionis, take a look at the YouTube videos of Kasparas working out at the NBA draft camp. Talk about almost a perfect form. The form is there. It's just a matter of the ball ultimately going in. But with the form being so beautiful, and again, his free throw percentage being at 85%, you really believe that he's eventually going to get there. It's just, I can't say if it's a matter of fact, sure thing right now. The thing that drove a lot of Illini fans crazy, I think, is the turnovers and risky decisions that Kasparas does tend to make. Look, Kasparas is a flashy passer, but sometimes he's too flashy. He averaged nearly 4 turnovers a game, and it's a fine line between creativity and recklessness. And in the NBA, those mistakes are going to get amplified. You know, there's a lot of opportunities where a simple pass will do, but Kasparas, for whatever reason, tends to make it more complicated that he needed to make. And all of a sudden, again, that got the fan base a little agitated at times, because some of those times came at very crunch moments in the game. Another thing he's going to have to work on at the next level is defense. And now I'm going to give him more credit than other people might. I don't think he's a defensive liability, but he's not going to be locking down guys at the NBA either. His lateral quickness is average. NBA guards are going to go at him until he can prove to them that he can adjust and keep them in front. I'm very curious to see how he's going to adjust to the NBA pick and roll. A lot of his value comes in that pick and roll, and that's great. But what happens if a team switches or blitzes him? His ISO creation is, in my opinion, right now, still developing. So how good can Kasparas Jakucionis be in the NBA? I think if he basically just lives up to 80% of what his potential is, I think he can play in the NBA for 7 to 10 plus years in the NBA. Just because, again, his court vision and more importantly, his size is just so. It's such an advantage that I know a lot of teams, especially with the way the NBA basketball is going, where it's kind of positionless. I think that's perfect for a guy like Kasparas Jakucionis. What if Kasparas lives up to 100% of his potential? Who does he become? Some fans may not like me saying this, and let me know in the comment section, especially Illini fans, if you think I'm absolutely crazy. But I think his absolute ceiling is someone like Tyrese Haliburton, who was just in the NBA Finals. Obviously, unfortunately, he got hurt in Game 7. Hopefully, he gets healthy very soon. But I just think Kasparas has a similar style of game. Not quite there, of course. Again, I'm not saying he's there, but keep in mind, Tyrese Haliburton, I believe, was the 11th pick in his draft by the Sacramento Kings. So it's one of those where it may seem outlandish now, but if people knew what Tyrese was going to eventually become, he would not have fallen to the 11th pick. GMs make mistakes too. The other comparison I wanted to make, because I saw it online and it really spoke to me. And again, this might also sound outlandish, but a right-handed Manu Ginobili. Look, my old heads who are watching this, I think as soon as I said the name, you had to see the similarities a little bit. The flash, there's a little unorthodoxy to his style of game. I do think that Kasparas has the type of game where he's going to be a household name. Now, it's going to take a while to be able to pronounce that name. I mean, I've been covering him for over a year, and some people are still saying I'm doing it wrong. But ultimately, I think he can be a very valuable player if your team just drafted him. I think if he's in the right spot and he's given the right role on that basketball team, I think you've got a very, very good NBA players on your hands. Illini fans, I want to know what your thoughts on my draft profile of Kasparas Jakucionis is. If your team just drafted Kasparas, you let me know what you think. I'm going to respond to as many comments as I can. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm going to do another one of these for Will Riley, which I'll release shortly after this one. Until next time, ILL. Love you guys.